T-shirt, white, ripped jeans. I was going to be cool, you know. And he said, it's 80s night. I said, I live the 80s. I don't, you know. So, anyway, so.
You guys like this, right? This is pretty good? Yeah. There you go. It's gonna keep them on.
So, I'm a team player and I'm audacious. So, anyway, so I can do the neon. And this was my attempt at the side ponytail. I feel like one of my little granddaughters, JL or Scarlett, you know, that's my little ponytail. Anyway, it's great to be with you guys, and like he said, I was one of the very first student pastors at Faith Promise Church, and that seems kind of weird, I know. And so I was trying to decide why they invited me. Was it because I was a relic? I was the oldest person that they could find that actually lived the 70s and 80s? Or was it really because I was the student pastor back in the day? And so I will just kind of leave that a mystery, and maybe it's a little bit of both. I don't know. So when I was doing youth ministry at Faith Promise Church, and I don't know that if you know them, but Justin Petrosky, who leads worship on the weekend, he was in 9th grade, okay? And Drew Wells, I don't know if you know him, writes a lot of our curriculum. He was in there as well. And then there's some other faces you may not be as familiar with, but those were two of the students that were in the ministry. Micah and Zach were actually destroying and tearing up the kids area. Back then we had Awanas and some other things. And then Zach Carringer was in diapers in the nursery. So if that gives you a little time frame, do y'all know who Zach Carringer is? Okay, yeah. And so, and Maggie was still just a thought in God's eye. You know, she was not even here yet. So anyway, that tells you how long I've been here, kind of some of the people that have come and gone since then. But God always gave me a heart for students. And I really thought that I would always do student ministry. I started working with teenagers when I was in college, and when Chris and I got married, we did student ministry forever. And then I was student pastors at the different churches that we helped plant. And then when we got here, I did it off and on. And you've heard Chris say that he's fired me 5 times, and that's no lies, because that's another story for another day. But in leadership, if you take it to a certain level and can't get it beyond that, then pastor has an obligation to bring in somebody that can take it to the next level. And so, you know, I got tired of that after a while. I was trying to learn my lesson, my leadership lesson, but again, that's another time for another day. So it came to the point where in 2000, when we moved up what we called the mountain back then, when we moved from Oak Ridge to the mountain, in this building that our worship pastor had left to be a musical evangelist type person, and I was his assistant. And so they said, hey, why don't you fill in? Well, I filled in, and then God began moving some things in place for me to take the role that I'm in today. But it made me make a choice. Actually, my husband made me make a choice. He said, you can't keep doing students and run an effective ministry. And this time I learned. I said, okay. And I hated it. Because I just, again, love students, and the things that God has shown me through students, what you guys have taught me, and what I've seen God do, and revolutions that I have seen God do in high schools through people your age is amazing. And so to be a part of that, and to help come alongside, pray and guide, that it was just an amazing thing. So I say all that to say I love students, and even in my ministry today, my main job is to raise up that next generation, because everybody in this room could potentially take my place and be on this platform and being able to usher other people into the presence of God. And so that's my job today, is not to hold a microphone and sing or hold a microphone and preach, but my job today is to find people to take my place and to do what I do, because that's how we advance the kingdom. That's how we make things enough. So thinking about that, if you could have anything in the world that you couldn't get enough of, what would it be? I'm going to give you 2 seconds to think about it, and then when I count to 3, I want you to yell it out, okay? Okay. The one thing that if if you could, you just couldn't get enough of it. Ready? Everybody shout it out on 3. 1, 2, 3. That's awesome. So, one little girl over here said, I'm going for chocolate. So I want chocolate. I heard Jesus. Why is it spiritual answer? I wish I was that spiritual. I was thinking ice cream. I was thinking like this little guy on the front row, chocolate ice cream. That was, if I couldn't get enough of anything, that's what it would be ice cream. Okay? And so, but on that thought, if you could think of, there's something I want you to think of. If I had, then I could. And I don't know. There we go. If I had blank, then I would or could blank. So think about that. Think about what that is, and not just on the ice cream level like me, but just where you are in your walk with God, where you are just in life circumstance. If I had blank, then I would or could do what? And see, I spent a lot of time when I was your age doing that. If I had that. And so I was never a girly girl. I wanted to be so bad because, they always, seem to have all the friends and, they just seem to have it all together. I tried the Barbie thing, couldn't do it. I tried the big hair in the 80s. Do we have that picture of Michelle in the 80s? It may not have there. This was a treat for you that is probably, there we go. That was my attempt at the big hair, okay? And so, see, I really lived the 80s. But let me tell you about big hair. Big hair required a lot of maintenance, okay? Big hair required perms, it required hairspray, it required a lot of time, and all the other stuff that came with it. And then, if I wanted to be in that girly girl, there was the preppy group at school. You had to iron your clothes, and everything had, that's just not me. I would rather, not saying there's anything wrong with that, but for me, I would rather blue jeans, t-shirts, get out and actually, I would rather hang out with the guys from football, basketball, softball, anything like that. That was more me. And see, but I spent a lot of time, you can take Michelle of the A's down. Sometimes there's just too much, but I spent a lot of time asking myself that question, if I could have or do blank, then I would or could do blank. And so, I spent a lot of time, especially when I was in high school, trying to figure that out. See, I got saved when I was 8. And I had a godly family. My dad taught me how to read my Bible, taught me how to share my faith, took me on mission trips, made me get up and sing. I hated it, made me do those things, but I had that opportunity. And so I had a great foundation. I was at church every time the doors were open. I did Bible drills, studied scripture, memorized scripture. I did the whole thing. But when I got into high school, junior high and high school, it was called junior high back then, middle school and high school, I had to start making some own decisions. Okay, I wanted to be a part of what the other people were doing, and I just couldn't get there. I just didn't feel like I was enough. I didn't feel like I had enough, and so I kept trying to shapeshift who I was so that I could fit in, and I had a great personality, a very attractional personality, so I always had a lot of people around me, but I never still felt like I was enough. That, I didn't have the right hair, I didn't have the right clothes, I didn't have the right boyfriend, I just didn't have the right things. And so I kept asking myself that question because I was trying to identify with what God wanted me to do. And so I had to make some decisions. Sadly, I didn't make them in high school. I don't tell this part of my story a lot because I don't want people to think they can do what I did in high school and college and have the life I have today. Because I'm blessed beyond what I deserve. and God has sustained me, and God has given me favor way beyond what I deserve. But, you know, you've heard that phrase, I reap what you sow. And so there were some reaping of some choices that I made. But it was all because I felt like I didn't have enough, I couldn't be enough. And so I had to really, really kind of wrestle those things to the ground, and I had to make some decisions about what I was going to be. And so I went to church in those times. I was a leader in everything because Michelle has a good personality. Michelle doesn't, she's a risk taker. She's loud. She doesn't mind getting up there talking. She doesn't mind doing that. But the whole time I was living a double standard life. I was doing whatever it took to fit in, and yet I was leading in students when I was at church. And so it began to just circle out of control. And I had to decide when is enough enough? Well, Students is going to be doing a series for the next 4 weeks on the trial of Jesus. And we're going to kind of kick that off tonight and just kind of ask ourselves,